pushed back their
Coming up.
I just want to shake some sense into you kids.
Why, hello. It is the Monday Night Threesome with I, J.Ishiro Finney, author and alien in a human suit, with his books linked in the description. And next to me
is Kat Rocha, the night editor. Hello,
Okay.
everyone.
hello, everybody.
and
It is the one, the only Ralt's Bloodthorn. Link in the description below for his stuff. You definitely got to check it out.
and D&D. There has been a new development in the clusterfuck that is WotC and D&D.
Yes, in fact, it from what I'm seeing it for the number of videos dropping, this must have hit like maybe within the last hour and a half. So this is interesting. Apparently, it has been revealed some things about their subscription service. Yeah, I'm sure there will be other people doing longer videos on all the nitty bitty things, but I'm going to bring up some things that hit the people present closest. And one is we already knew that okay, you have to subscribe to a certain level in order to use your own content in their platform. So either they own it or you have to pay them for the privilege of using your content. And as we've already seen, their user agreement says they get to own whatever you send them. Right? Now here's the kicker, especially because we've been playing with one of these things. AIGM. Yeah,
that sounds about as useful. Yeah, that sounds like to GMing what a fleshlight is to sex.
Yes.
Yes.
I would agree.
And I heard that and I went, we've been playing around with one of these AI, story writers, and it takes everything you feed into it, and that's what it uses to spit back out. It's going to use people's, own created works to have its AI generate this shit.
No, it's all going to become porn.
And it's probably going to all become porn. It's the idea that you are paying them for them to use your shit with their AI program, and they get to keep all the content that this AI spits out.
Well, again, an AI being your GM, that kind of defeats the purpose of gaming at that point.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, you're completely removing the social aspect.
Mm-hmm.
You're completely removing all the things the GM brings to the game.
Mm-hmm. And for the low price of $30 a month, you too can be a part of this.
And knowing how these AIs work, what the player would do is say, or the players would do is they'd go to the AI and say, this is the adventure we want, and this is how we want it to turn out. Go.
Mm-hmm.
1. Yay.
Yeah. So I heard,
this AI thing they're pushing. These AIs are dumb as a box of rocks.
Yeah.
And I guess if you want to play with an AI GM, go play WoW.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
And
will
so
this thing narrate to you with a voice, or will it?
Don't know.
$30 a month.
Don't know. I just know that supposedly they ran a group of, I think, journalists through an adventure with one of these things, and it's like, journalists aren't gamers. You're not going to get the guy who he's like, well, I'm going to go, hunt myself a turkey tonight. Why? We're just going over there. Why do you need to hunt yourself a turkey? Because I want to. It's like, you're not going to get that.
$30 a month.
$30 a month. Oh, yes, that's the top tier, but
shit.
that's basically the tier that you get. That like
$30 a month to pay them for the honor of giving them your ideas.
Yes.
To own.
And let's not. And from what it looks like, it's $30 a month to play in anything but the Forgotten Realms.
Oh, great, lovely.
So none of what we were doing.
No.
None of what we were doing when we were, well, let's see. Hey, we got a reward. We got peaches. They're like worth, 10 silver a piece.
I love that. You're the first GM to do that. Where have like real world practical rewards. To actually have goods like flour be worth something. I loved that you did that.
Well, people got to eat.
Mhm.
And what's funny, what gets me is it used to be in like the Rift's main book and stuff like, and the first edition book, imagine adventurers getting given 150 head of cattle as the reward. Now they got to get it somewhere where they can sell it.
I love that. Actually, that reminds me of one of the adventures in Knights of the Dinner Table, if you ever read that.
Yeah.
Where they go to this abandoned village and it's like, okay, where's the treasure? It's like, well, you see lots of furniture, it's all very well crafted, there's statues, and they get mad and like slaughter all these llamas on the hillside.
I remember that because the llamas kicked their ass.
Yeah, and then later it's like, you dumbass, all of that furniture is worth thousands of gold and you just slaughtered your only way to get it off the mountain.
I've had players steal everything that isn't nailed down. We're talking they numbered the pieces and sawed apart a jade statue so they could pack it out. I was like, are you kidding me?
Oh no.
It's like, well, even if it doesn't work, we've got jade, lots of jade. I was like, I figure if it's not nailed down, the players will steal it, and one of them's probably got a hammer in case it's nailed down. But yeah, $30 a month, and all you can, in order to play your own setting.
Yeah. And they're making the book so that it's not downloadable in any way, shape, or form. So the only way you have access to it is if you pay them, their $30 a month.
So if I go to the store and buy the damn book, do I get to have it?
Well, no, they're not printing it. This is going to be a totally different book.
They're not printing 6E.
Nope.
That's going to be funny.
Yeah.
Because, so basically you're buying a really shitty version of WoW.
Yes.
That's Hasbro right there. That's because someone came in from Microsoft's Xbox division and had all kinds of neat ideas.
I saw a combination of that and their lawyers saying, well, you do realize that if people start uploading content and you let your AI learn from it, they can sue you for stealing their ideas. It's like, oh, well, then we'll just write it in that we own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that update and I'm like, oh, I gotta share. I have to share this with you guys.
Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, there is a victory though. Supposedly 2.0 of this online content was supposed to go up Friday. And the backlash was so severe, they got scared and are like, no, we didn't have anything going on Friday. No.
Yeah, I remember that because I was like, this
us.
is going to be funny. You got to figure they've really bought into their own press that without them, there is no such thing as tabletop RPGs.
Like I have a huge bag of dice that says different. I've got a bookshelf full of books that says different.
It's just. Uh,
Ishi
and-
has decided. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
no, go ahead. I'm just.
Well, I wanted to put this to the test with a novel AI, which has its own text adventure GM program, which is already far more developed than what D&D has.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided, okay, punch in the parameters. Okay, see what happens.
I haven't been reading what you've been writing, so okay. You're a man of many talents. You are an expert swordsman, a master archer, and an experienced horseman. Your weapons of choice are the sword and bow. You are a rugged man of action, raised in a harsh environment, and therefore you have developed a tough and resilient spirit. Your name is Dirk Goodheart. You are in the forest. And then the machine spits out, you draw your
Actually, the machine spat that out.
the machine spat that out.
Yeah, I said that I'm a
Okay.
fantasy warrior.
Okay.
And yeah, and this is what it spat out.
Okay, and then Ishi wrote you.
No, it wrote all this.
It wrote all this.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it wrote you draw your sword as you spot a squirrel on a nearby branch. You will need to dodge the jumping squirrel if you want to survive this encounter. You are in the forest. You draw your sword as you spot a squirrel on a nearby branch.
And so I write first action: hunt for a wild turkey.
Okay.
What's it say?
You are in the forest. You are wearing a pair of leather pants, a vest with metal plates, and a thick fur coat. You have been wandering through the forest for hours, hoping to find some turkey to shoot.
Continue hunting for turkey.
You are in the forest. You are dressed as a hunter and armed with a bow and a quiver full of arrows. You are wearing a pair of leather pants, a vest with metal plates, and a thick fur coat.
Look for turkey.
You are in the forest. You are dressed as a hunter, and I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yell, turkey, turkey.
Your shout echoes through the forest as you pull back on your bowstring and release your arrow into the air. The arrow zips through the air, heading for the distant turkey that you saw earlier. The arrow hits the turkey dead on, and it immediately falls over dead.
Oh yeah, this is great, isn't it? This is so much better than a human telling you the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much better.
I'm looking for a turkey. Well, the squirrel's gonna fuck your shit up if you turn around on him. But go ahead.
No, I'm just waiting for the, hear the sound of dice rolling. What was that? Oh, you didn't notice that. Like, nope. Or the roll notice.
Wolf.
Oh, you didn't get that. You didn't hear that.
No.
Horrible. Dirk Goodheart. Well, at least it wasn't Van Dark Throne.
You think that's pretty good though? Honestly, once when I was messing with it, forcing horrible romance titles into it to see what it would write, it literally spat back the line. It wrote this on its own. So-and-so may have been a very dangerous and evil man, but not nearly as dangerous as his assistant and sidekick, Mr. Vin Diesel.
What?
It wasn't even ironic. It just wrote that.
Oh God.
And it was misspelled.
No, that's almost as good as I'm not the protagonist. I'm the damsel in distress.
30
Yes.
bucks a month. 30 bucks a month. And what they're counting on is everybody putting in this stuff will help tailor their AI better and better.
Yes.
And it won't. What it's going to do is it's going to create a clusterfuck
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
of really, really bad storytelling.
And porn. Lots
Porn.
and lots of porn.
Tons of porn. I'm sensing lots of bar wenches are just going to randomly show up for no reason.
Actually, the latest experiment I've been trying with this thing, because I am fascinated, I'm trying to beat it into telling a decent story.
Sorry, I had to put that up.
It would be better, yes.
Mr. No, they should replace the showrunner of Velma with AI. It would be a vast improvement.
Also, I told you in one of the things, just trying to corrupt the damn thing, one of the romance plots I fed into it, I redid the parameters so that the dashing young hero was named Adolf Hitler. So which produced such wonderful lines as, you may think he loves you, but no one loves you as much as Adolf Hitler can love a woman. Yeah. No context. Just great.
Just no
no sense of
context.
context. Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
God, it gets me $30 a month. For $30 a month,
Yeah.
they better have like Mike Merles himself fucking DMing the game for me.
Yeah.
$30 a month. You know, it does. If you're thinking that doesn't sound like that much, that's $360 a year. Now that's just the basic subscription fee. And yeah, they're like, oh, we'll drop monthly content. You know what they're going to drop? They're going to drop palette swap pixel art for you.
Yeah.
If you want to add Ravenloft, well, probably from the sound of it, you're going to be paying say $19.99 for your Ravenloft accessory, and then another $3 a month to keep it unlocked.
Mm-hmm. And then of course there's buying the avatars for your characters.
Yeah.
If you want special computer generated dice like what Rolls20 has.
Yeah.
Harble says Mussolini wrote romance novels, and that's because deep down he was a romantic at heart.
Jesus.
Well, so's Fulci.
It's just like, what the fuck? You expect me to pay $30 a month?
Yeah,
And
they're nuts. They're losing it.
And
the fact that WotC, Wizard of the Coast, would actually be so fucking greedy is to expect people to pay $30 a month for the privilege of using their game and giving away all of your rights and all of your ideas and anything you ever do on their system for them to own.
Yeah.
Paying them to own your material. That is corporate America, okay? That is corporatism at its core. Fuck them.
And
I, as a
consumer, say, no, you do not get my check.
Dice and paper never looked more attractive, did it, guys?
No.
No. No, and I mean, it's just the way they're doing it. They're like, you're going to give us your money, and you're just going to like it. There's nothing you can do about it. We have your money.
Yeah.
It makes me, pine for the days of, supplement after supplement after supplement. Well, now you need, GM's Guide Volume 2. Well, now you need this. Well, now you need this.
I have the DM's Guide 2 for 3.5 sitting right on my shelf.
Oh, there you go. And I just thought, no, this is just, trying to bleed them dry because they know that the gamers are going to buy this stuff.
No, they're not. Actually, gamers aren't. Who are going to buy it are the ones who jump on all this latest bullshit and scream it's theirs.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Eloise, what are you referring to specifically? What's the name of that comic you mentioned that was Gnostic through and through, or was it objectivist? Give me a little more description. Because keep in mind, as much as I find Gnostic storytelling interesting, I definitely land on the objectivist side of things. I mean, I think the problem with Gnosticism is just kind of like begging to be delusional. I mean, for story material, it's great. I mean, it's a very interesting mythology, but as an actual theology, you're just begging to be a moral relativist. Wait. What was that?
Oh, Harble said, no subscription fee on physical media. My dice aren't paid to roll.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. You will own no IP and you will be happy. Thank you, JW Champagne.
I mean,
man, yeah.
I'm sitting here looking at my shelves, and there's got to be a couple grand worth of gaming books.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I mean, Pathfinder books were expensive, and I have every single hardback they put out.
Oh, wow.
Except for the Adventure Path series. The only one I've got for that is the Rise of the Rune Lords Anniversary Edition. For 3.5, I've got I got about 40 books for 3.5 sitting up here, and 3.0. I've got some 1E books and a couple 2E books, and then I got a Star Frontiers box set down here on the shelf. If you really want to blast in the past, I got the second printing of the Forgotten Realms campaign setting sitting right down here. I'm standing in between them and my wallet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's always been the case, just like physical media in general. They don't like the fact that once you buy something, it belongs to you.
Mm-hmm.
They want to squeeze money out of you every time you even think of the damn thing.
And see, for all of his faults, Gary Gygax just wanted us to, have fun playing it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and
Okay.
it would help if the adventures weren't so watered down. I mean, Strixhaven was probably like the worst thing I'd ever seen. If you know what that is.
No, actually.
Strixhaven is the 5e answer to Hogwarts. And one of their adventures they were touting was, oh, you work as a barista at
Yes.
Strixhaven, and there's a monster that lives in the newsstand, and blah, blah, blah. And I hope you got your stuff ready for prom. Why am I role-playing high school?
I knew that existed. I just didn't know what it was called. When I heard about it, I actually thought it was a joke. I honestly thought it was like one of those April Fool's jokes that still floats around that people forgot to put the disclaimer on. Like, no.
Well, Alois, if you can give me more description on the book that I was mentioning, go ahead. As for Mr. A, that is pure objectivist, and if you want an antidote to moral relativism and Gnosticism and all that shit, Mr. A is a crash course in how to see through all that bullshit.
What is Mr. A?
Yeah, or The Avenging World by Steve Ditko.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. It really, he was trying to set out to teach readers how to think and question and think critically.
Mm-hmm. In answer to Dark Stranger, he asked, the question or the shadow, and Mr. A is the precursor to the question.
Or what the question was supposed to originally be, but DC didn't want that.
Yeah. So anyway. So how is everybody this evening?
Well, I don't know. I think it's a good topic that we tackled here. I mean,
yeah. Oh, I do too.
I think we all need to talk about the fact that these companies are getting way too freaking greedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's any concept of the artistry or the creativity or the enjoyment of the player is gone.
Yeah.
It's all about squeezing as much money out of your wallet as possible and taking everything from you. I mean, it's always come down to this.
Mm-hmm.
After a point, the money people get too involved. It's all lawyers and accountants running things. They're the least creative people on earth. And for them, all that fucking matters is taking your rights and taking your money and laughing to the bank. They're sick fucks. They can go to hell.
Well, you get... I knew people that worked at Wizards during 3.5 and even 4E, and they started to get problems where they'd come up with a really good idea that they thought would work really good, and the first thing they'd hear is, how does this make us? How does this make us?
Yeah.
Well, how does this give us an ongoing revenue stream? Because 4E was supposed to sell massive amounts of battle maps and figures, and it didn't. Everybody's like, I can use a quarter for my character. I'm not buying your $12 plastic figure.
Exactly. It's like, no, I just went to my fishbowl and grabbed one of those little glass bead things. I'm good.
Yeah. But it's like $30. There's like, oh, well, that's the highest tier. Okay, what do I get? Do I get the core rulebooks for free? Do I get customizable character avatars for free? Do I get a customizable token, or is that extra? Does that what do I get with my $30?
Well, I believe the phrasing was access to new content. Access.
Oh, so you'll let me buy more content?
Yes.
How mighty white of you! That's right, I said it. How mighty white of you to do this?
Yeah.
Holy shit, lady. Okay, for $30, you can log on to our servers, and we'll let you buy more stuff. Oh, how much you want to bet there's going to be virtual table rental fees soon?
I really wouldn't doubt it. Well, you have to reserve a spot. It's like, reserve a spot online.
And then how much storage do I have? I mean, let's knock back to Saturday. How much of my storage will that map take up with full dynamic lighting and fog of war? How much is it going to take?
I actually have no clue how much space one of those maps takes up on Roll20.
Right? Are they going to charge me for the processing power? Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't pay the additional $1.99 for dynamic lighting per map.
The moment they realize that you're willing to give them money for things, they will just look for every excuse to dink you for even more things.
Mm-hmm.
It's fitting that they're in Seattle. Okay, but they're exactly like the grifting hobos that wander. Well, no, hobos actually traveled for work. They're exactly like the drifting bums who come up to you and go, "Give me a quarter." You give him a quarter, and then he's like, "Give me $1." Or you open your wallet to give him $1, and he snatches a 20 out.
Yeah.
And Seattle's full of these people. Microsoft is full of these people. Bonzi Buddy suckered more kids in the 90s than any other product. Hey, I'll sing a little song. Click right here to download it. $1.99. Please ask your parents.
Oh, God.
Well, I want to make an example about Seattle or Berkeley versus Mesa, Arizona. Okay. We have coffee shops in Mesa, Arizona.
Yeah.
And when you walk into a coffee shop in a good part of the town or bad part of town, there's a tip jar on the corner, right next to the register. And it's right there. Just about anywhere you walk into town in Seattle or Berkeley, that tip jar has a chain on it.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, because people grab it and run.
Right.
I still remember I went to Seattle. I had my wife and my 4 kids with me, because my son was with me at the time. We go up there and we get out of the car, and this woman pulls up, and I'm looking around, and I looked at her and I said, "Hey, where do you know where this is?" And she just points at her lock and shakes her head like, "I'm not rolling down my window." And I noticed that we sat there, and she wouldn't get out of her car the whole time we're there. And I had a 6-year-old was the youngest one. It's like, yeah, I'm sure I'm a pack of robbers. And then we walked down there, and holy shit, there was like whole families lunging out and grabbing stuff from people. I was like,
yeah,
what the shit? That's another reason why I'll never take a job in a big city. Oh, but big cities have things that are open at 2 a.m. I don't want anything at 2 a.m. Well, what if you did? Then I'd be an adult and I suffer till morning. I don't have to have instant gratification. I mean, it's nice, but I don't have to have it.
I'll be honest. When you're in your 20s and you want to just go out and hang out at 2 a.m. with your friends someplace, that's one thing. But needing everything open at 2 a.m. is kind of lame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we've all seen the website. You know what people look like at Walmart at 2 a.m.
And if you go to an all-night theater, you know what you're in for. So, you're going there knowing there's probably going to be weirdos and masturbators in the background.
And the ground will be sticky.
And there will be sleeping bums in the theater. But that's price of admission, man.
Yeah. And I don't want any of that. So I moved.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, one of the worst things or funniest things, it depended on what it was seeing movies late at night on Haight Street in their art house theater. Because the later it was, the more drunk and stoned people were. And trying to see a film like Pi, right? Which is this kind of surrealistic cyberpunk art film, right? With really frenetic music.
It's Darren Aronofsky.
Well, back when he actually was telling stories.
Yeah.
When he wasn't a pretentious prick yet. But anyway, you've got to imagine scenes where nothing intense is happening. Now, I want to answer this one, though.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to put up Neostar's comment.
And like things like a phone would ring, and there'd be like hippies in the phone rang, man. Answer the phone.
Oh, God. I don't condone shooting in movie theaters, but I know why it happens.
Or going to see like a Bond marathon, and like 2 a.m. you're watching Goldfinger, and there's a drunk black hobo in the backseat. Yeah. You grab the electrical cord. Fry that Chinese motherfucker. Yeah, fry him.
Shit.
Yeah, toast his ass. It's like, yeah, you're getting a little too angry about that. Chinaman dead. Like, oh my god. It's like, okay.
And people wonder why I lived in the big city where I was always packing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, I won't go there, but that horrible experience in San Jose at the convention.
Which experience?
The light rail.
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay. No.
We'll say, okay, I'll tell this and then I want to answer Aloise's question because it actually is something I want to get to. But once we were, what convention was this?
Oh, this was oh God.
It was some convention we did. It was actually a pretty good convention.
That's the one where you'll have the picture of the dude dressed as a xenomorph on the mechanical bull.
But it was a cool convention, but the city was terrible. And San Jose, very liberal, so they would just put up and tolerate, black ghetto types coming in and shitting on them and being difficult. And the black population knew they could get away with anything. And boy, did they take advantage of it. So we're all riding home on the light rail after a long day at the convention. And there's one huge black dude in the back of the light rail. The rest of them are like, liberal business types and fanboys, but mostly business type coming home from work. And the black dude sitting there looking at white woman in the third row wearing the business suit. Think about raping her.
Yeah.
Raping her when she gets off the train. Yeah. Looking at old white faggot. Gonna shoot him in the head. And everyone's just, don't look.
Don't look.
And you and I was busting up, and he couldn't understand why we thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. You guys are like, okay.
Well, these pussies are putting up with it. That's why it's hilarious. This is the world they built for themselves. In fact, it was so unbelievable. I got the whole thing. I actually started notating it in a notebook while I was there.
The lyrics to his wonderful song.
Yeah. And when anyone would look at it, just singing. I'm just singing.
Yeah. Like, just the lyrics to my song. Like, no, dude.
Like, yeah. Okay, so Eloise, you were asking about a book from the 90s with the name The Max in it. It was The Max.
Maxx.
Yep.
Yes.
I remember that cartoon.
It was not Gnostic in the least. It was Jungian. And it was a crash course roughly in Jungian theory through a narrative. And it is a very good story. Very, very good. And if you really want to understand the concepts of archetypes and the differences between the subconscious world and the world of symbols versus the real world we live in and how they interact. And yeah, that's the book to go with. It is really good, especially if you read just a kind of a primer on Jung, and then you read that book and it's all right there.
So anyway,
and it's very good. Anyway,
I watched The Max a little bit on MTV.
That is one of the best one-for-one translations from comic to animation ever.
It really was.
It almost is perfect frame by frame.
Yeah, we've actually got that on DVD. I wish they'd port it to Blu-ray too, but I have a feeling that the new regime of people running MTV are just going to pretend that doesn't exist.
Well, Dark Stranger, other urban war stories.
I bet both of you could tell good stories. All right, you worked in a bar.
Look, there's no statute of limitations on some stuff, so no.
Okay.
Oh, okay. There was another one. This one isn't really much of a war story. It's just, again, dumb lefties not realizing they're being made fun of or shit on. And there was this one coffee house downtown that a friend of mine liked. I hated this place. And it was ran by a Persian family. Okay? And the two Persian young men would just come out and they'd go to all these different women. And, these guys, I'll give it to them. They were handsome and they were ripped. But they'd just walk around and they'd go up to all the various women with their girlfriends and wives. And they would start openly flirting with the wives
Mhm.
or the women, right? And nobody wanted to. The guys wouldn't say anything because, well, I don't want to be racist, you know. And they'd come up and they'd go to the women and say, hey, you want my cream? Yes. And then they'd pull out this big spoon of whipped cream. I'll put cream in your cup. Here, lick my cream. I've got the best cream, don't I? And the girls was like giggle. Oh, I'm licking his cream. Yeah, come back later. I'll give you more cream. It's like, come on, dude. He's disrespecting you in front of your girl.
Well,
stand up for yourself, you fucking pussy.
From what I've heard, the servers at that Brazilian barbecue place that was in downtown San Diego, they do the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I have to imagine a lot of the Navy guys or else the Marines would kick their ass.
No, they specifically do it when none of the husbands were around.
Oh. No, they'd do this right in front of the guys.
No, this wasn't that. It was, you get a gaggle of women and they would hold out the skewers and have the women bite off the meat off the skewer, and all the women would go, woo! Like it's a freaking bachelorette party. I have coworkers who liked to do that a lot. It's like, oh god.
That sounds about right. Yeah, women alone at the bar is like, if you're a male working behind the bar or working, or waiting tables, it's like you are going to go home with bruises. Maybe one of your pants pockets are going to be torn. You're going to have pinch marks that some of them will draw blood. And it's like, holy shit, I did not know women acted that badly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I didn't know that women acted that badly until when I was 21. I got the job at the nonprofit. And, their story, these, older women and their stories of going to various places and hitting on the hot waiters. It like, damn, I hope you're tipping them good to put up with that shit.
They don't. That's what used to piss me off the most. The ones that would grab me the most and like dig their fingernails in to keep me there.
Ooh.
Didn't tip.
Oh God, no. If you're gonna do that, you gotta tip. And
if a guy grabbed my waitress like that, I'd throw him face first into the door.
Good.
To open it. But no, they would do this and they'd giggle to each other about it, and I was like, Rrr. Yeah, I'd go home with like big crescent marks in my side or on my leg from where they dug their fingers in to keep me there, because I'd go to move away and they'd squeeze. And it would be like, God damn it, that hurt. But no, it was, that was a pool night and a ladies' night. I hated working those nights. I told my boss, you're going to have to pay me more on these nights or you can get somebody else. And women hated other women to be working at the bar during ladies' night.
Oh yeah.
Or on the floor. It was absolutely insane. Sorry.
Lack of eye candy and competition.
They had to have been hard up for eye candy because I am not a good looking man.
Yes, but you're still male. You're male with male pheromones coming off, even though you find all of them repulsive. But any other female that's in the room is instantly seen as competition.
Was this when you were built like a brick, though?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, I at one point I told my boss I would rather deal with the tweakers we used to have in here than deal with ladies' night.
Ouch.
Because I can bounce a tweaker off a car and nobody thinks anything different. Yeah. I can't bounce some woman that just reached down my pants and squeezed my nutsack off a car, or I'm the bad guy.
Oh. Jeez.
Wolf, I did not spend a whole lot of time in bars, so I can't really answer that question. I will leave that to Raltz.
What? Women are complete animals at bars. Absolutely. Not when they're there with their boyfriends, not when they're there with their husbands. But if like ladies' night, holy shit, were you like If guys acted like this, I'd be shutting down the bar.
I believe it.
Oh, being the bartender, it will not keep you safe.
Oh, being behind the bar?
No, it does not keep you safe.
Really?
Oh, and you're going to see more, Chris Rock said it right. 20-year-old titty, community titty. 40-year-old titty, your man's titty. You're going to see more private titty than any public domain titty. And it's like the older they are, the more likely they are after a half pitcher to pull their shirt up and yell, "Hey, check this out." And I told my boss, you got to put a stop to this. I can't let this go on. And he's like, "Yeah, but we make good money."
He's like, well, like you said, and then pay me more money because I'm not making enough in tips to make up for this.
I was, and then guys' night, guys' pool night, guys' night when it was, guys tip like crazy because none of them want to be seen as that cheap motherfucker. But the women would chip. I had some women slap me down a quarter and go, "Here you go, sweet cheeks." Like I'm so, wow, don't let me spend it all one place. If they do tip you money, they want to shove it down the back of your pants or the front of your pants.
See, because women are more civilized and they're the gentler side of the species and far more refrained and respectable.
It's just, and plus, it never failed. It never fucking failed. Tweakers were one thing to find in the bathroom. Some guys shooting up. When I first worked there, tweakers, guys shooting up heroin. But it never failed that some chick would get drunk and think that she's going to break all new things and drag her boyfriend in the bathroom for sex. Like, I'm going to allow it. And then she'd get mad when I kick open the bathroom door and go like, "Get the fuck out of the bathroom." And you'd walk in there and there's like 2 or 3 women watching them.
God.
Like, get the hell out of here. Oh, God, I couldn't.
Yeah, and you're the asshole.
Yo, yeah, I'm the asshole. We were just having some fun. No, he had it in your ass in the toilet. Okay?
Oh.
You should be glad we scrubbed this place. Ugh. I told my boss to put a fake camera up in the bathroom, and that would stop people, right? He's like, "No, you're having all this problem in the bathroom. I'm actually going to put it up there, and I'm going to put, you are being videotaped for security purposes." I'm like, "Is that even legal?" He goes, "I don't give a fuck." And he calls me and he goes, "You were wrong about the camera. It's not helping." I'm like, "What?" You'd have women go in there and yank up their shirts and shake their boobs at the camera or, bend over and flash it. It's like, he's like, "This is what you're putting up with?" I'm like, yeah, this is what I got to put up with every twice a week. He's like, "I'm going to take the camera down because apparently they think that I'm filming Girls Gone Wild."
Oh, Jesus.
And, this wasn't, it started out as a tweaker bar. I cleared out the tweakers. I cleared out the nodders. And I got them out of there. And better clientele started coming in. These were not locals doing this. The locals wanted to sit there and have their beers. These
tourists.
were people that were tourists. And I swear to God, as soon as somebody gets 3 blocks from their house, they do the most outrageous shit.
Well, Kat, remember when Jules, Desiree, and Jen went to Vegas?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'll admit, I've done some fucked up shit. Sorry.
No. 3 married women going to Vegas to whore it up. I was like,
yeah.
With the blessing of their husbands. It was, come on.
2 of them are ex-strippers.
Yeah. Have some class. Seriously?
Oh, that's some mayonnaise with clam sauce right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hold it against them because, when I was younger, it was like, okay, hey, look, some married chick whose husband let her go here and is looking for somebody young. You know what? I haven't had any pussy in about a month. I'll take it. I'll admit it. I'm not afraid to admit it, but damn. Getting it from the other side of being the bartender, it's like, I hate all of you people.
Anime acid trip. Bit about the thing about booze, titties, tips, all that. I can tell you this much: my sister, who was a Hollywood person, in her 20s, worked in bar as a waitress and in bars in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And the best job she had was one in Beverly Hills. But she said that in Beverly Hills, there were young men there who were fit. They were always gay.
Mm-hmm.
And they groomed themselves to ridiculous extent, gay man grooming.
Yeah. Preening.
And they would make bank being the waiters for older, rich women who would give them $1,000 tips if he would just constantly go on about how he would bend her over the table and fuck her and be as lewd as fucking possible about how he was going to rape the older women. And the more lewd he got, the more money he got. And that apparently there were gay men who had figured out that was where the money was talking dirty and groping, these women who were in their 60s.
Horrible 99 hit it. The camera cries itself to sleep at nights now. We can hear it when we're closing up, more or less.
Exactly.
And booze is not a shield. The more booze these women get, the worse they got. And it was just, it wasn't a shield because they get drunk and, and at first, the first couple times it might be the younger girls pulling their shirts up, but by 11 o'clock at night, the nipples are all pointing south.
Oh.
And it's like, I could have swore you came in here with a bra. And you'd go in after the night is over and find bras shoved behind the toilet. And I told my boss, I'm like, you got to do something. I can't take this anymore. And he's like, oh, come on, you're making good tips. I'm like, I've done a lot of things for money, but I don't know if I can keep doing this. And then him and his wife started coming in on ladies' night, and they were just floored. Oh, William Silva hit it. There's the boyfriends around where the women decide they want to know how much their boyfriend loves them. So they tell their boyfriend some stupid shit so that the boyfriend will start a fight. I mean, there was more than once I came home with my mouth busted. My wife was like, boyfriend? I was like, yep, boyfriend. Because they'll say something and you'll go back to grab another case of beer out of the cooler and you turn around and here's this moron. And he pushes you and he goes, my girlfriend said if they said that and after pushing me, I didn't let them finish what they're saying. I just hit them when their mouth was open and just drop them. And the local cops were always like, nope, these guys always start it. Because, pushing on somebody's assault, I'm allowed to defend myself, especially when you got me back against the wall.
Yeah. And
then the woman would be like, oh my God, you hit him. I was like, I didn't hit him. I knocked his ass out. You hit him. You hit my boyfriend. And I told one of them, next time, don't lie to your boyfriend and he's not going to wake up in the hospital. And she's all, I can't believe you hit him. You sent him back here to beat my ass.
Well, I can't claim to have ever experienced anything like that. But I will say once in college, I had 3 Aussie guys who were from the Navy, it was Australian Navy, who were drunk and decided they were going to try and pick a fight with me. Alone.
Aren't you like 5'2"?
No, I'm actually 5'6", but I mean,
at least you took that good nature.
What?
At least you took that good naturedly.
I don't fucking care. I've all my life I've dealt with it. I don't give a shit. It doesn't bother me. But anyway, yeah, exactly. You got these 3, hulking guys from the Navy who want to pick a fight with me. 5'6", spike-eared goth kid, and they're trying to do the macho thing with me. 3-on-1, no, there's no chance. I'm gonna get my ass beat.
Yeah.
So they're drunk enough that they don't notice that they're sitting behind the jukebox. So I loaded up Spice Girls Wannabe 20 times.
Oh, I hate people like you. The worst I ever had was I'd had a good night, and unfortunately it was one of those nights where people came in from Portland and Longview and Lacey and Salem. So you had a lot of out-of-towners and you had a lot of really scumbags. And I knew that night was kind of off because there was one guy local and he left at about 10. And so that always, set my alarms a little bit. So I come walking out, lock up, turn around, and there's this guy. He's got his car parked slightly sideways in the parking spot in front of the bar. He's got the door open. He's sitting on the seat, and he goes, "Well, you need to hand me those keys and your tip money," and he's lifting up a gun. I did the only thing I can think of. I kicked the fucking car. I started kicking the car door because he had his legs outside.
Nice.
And the cops drove up and were like, yeah, that was kind of funny to watch. And he's like, "Oh, he assaulted me for no reason." And the cops are like, "This your cheap ass pistol, champ?" No, it's his. It's like, the cops know me. The cops know I'm not carrying a pistol. But I couldn't believe that. He's sitting there smoking a cigarette with a pistol in his hand. And he's like, "You need to give me the keys," and kick the door shut. Because shins aren't armored very well.
No.
And I told my boss, "You need to check last night's video because the cops might come by." And he goes, "Well, the cops are already here. They got a copy of it." I was like, "Okay, so you've seen it?" He goes, "Seen it. I showed everybody at the bar that shit. That shit was funny." Because he started yelling "stop," and I just kept kicking it. Because, I learned a long time ago, when those guys say stop, they want you to stop long enough to grab the pistol and shoot you.
Yeah.
They want you to feel bad. And it's like, I had people try to rob me. It was like, oh my God, will you please not wave around your cheap shit fucking pistol that looks like it was put together by a fucking toddler and yell, "Give me the money." Ugh.
Did he have the masking tape on the handle?
No, it would have been better. Oh God. It was like, I already put the money in the safe, man. You're shit out of luck. Although we did have a really funny one. The fog came in off the coast, and there was like four of us because it was the middle of the month. Nobody got paid. It's dollar beer night. There's like four of us. I'm sitting there drinking soda, and we're watching movies on TV. And one of the guys went to leave, and he opens the door, and the fog literally rolls in. And it smells like oil, diesel, and basically beach. And he looks at the fog, and he looks at it and goes, "Man, I can't even see my car," and closes the door. And I'm like, "How bad is it out there?" He's like, "Well, there's weird noises." And I listen, and there's weird noises, and there's lights, and there's movement. And I was like, "You know what? I'm not shutting up. I was going to shut down early, but I think we should just sit here and wait and see what happens." That was a weird night. That was a really weird night. Because the fog didn't clear until like 2 a.m. We all sat in there eating sausage dogs and drinking beer. I called my boss. Was like, "Oh, how many people are there?" I'm like, 4. He goes, "Go ahead and shut down." I'm like, "You looked outside?" He's like, "Yeah, there's this weird fog out there." I'm like, "Yeah, the 4 guys here, they ain't going home." And I was like, "Look, one of them's an ex-SEAL, one's an ex-Special Forces, and they're like, they ain't going outside. They're willing to fight me to stay in here." That was a weird night.
Yeah, my immediate thought is like, okay, who turned on the Stephen King mode on this?
Yeah, especially when it sounded like there was somebody tapping on the windows.
Oh God!
And the windows are like 8 feet off the ground and look like those little rectangular bathroom windows.
Wow.
So we're looking at each other. Somebody goes, "Whoever that is that's tapping out there on those windows has some really fucking long arms." And the SF guy goes, "Yeah, and I'll bet they end in claws." I was like, "So anybody want to go outside?" Nope.
I just looked outside, and like all the cars that are parked in the lot, their lights are flashing and they're honking and no one's in them.
God, that would have been like, "Okay, we're done. We're out."
Fuck this shit.
What were some of the other things in the opening, the fog?
I don't know, but I was just flashing on, "Come on, Pike, let me in. I'm hungry."
Yeah. Who turned out the lights?
Yeah.
The problem was like it was on the coast. So
Yeah.
if we'd have seen a single pirate, we'd have lost our shit. We'd have been like, we're out of here. Because we were talking about that. And then this was the best part. 11 o'clock rolls around. We got the TV on, and they start showing the fog.
Oh God, that really did happen.
And
That's
and the
even
SEAL
better.
guy gets up and goes, "You know what? We're not doing this." And he turned the channel. I'm I'm like, what? You don't want to sit here and watch what's going to happen to us tonight? And then I got home. My wife was like, you didn't go out in that fog, did you? I was like, no. She goes, oh, well, me and the kids closed up all the windows and put the bars across the door because there was weird noises outside. And we decided you could just sleep at the bar. I was like, that's my baby right there. Keep the kids safe.
Hell yeah.
Good woman.
That working there was a trip. I mean, working at that bar was really weird. I learned a lot about tweakers.
Yeah, I did too, but in a different way. See, you had to deal with them at bars and deal with them in like where you had to beat them up or get rid of them.
Yeah.
See, I spent a large chunk of my college going to like coffee houses where like the weird counterculture and tweakers intersected.
Oh.
So I actually watched a lot of the tweaker madness just going on in front of me while I drank coffee and did whatever I was doing.
Well, a lot of fishermen do meth when they're out there.
Yeah.
And you could always tell the guys that couldn't handle it because they do it when they were back. Because they'd only do it when like they were pulling in the nets.
Yeah.
And those guys were like, "Fuck, I'm strung out." I'm like, "What's up?" We got a really big load. That meth was bad, man. I'm like, "You need to stop taking that shit." He's like, "Hey, we made enough on this haul to pay my mortgage for the next year and a half." I was like,
there you go.
Meth it is.
Yeah, meth it is.
The meth. There was this one place that I spent a lot of time in called the Horseshoe. It was a coffee house, and it was kind of a magnet of punks and goths, mental illness, crazed homeless people, and druggies. Mm-hmm. And we found out later that the reason the place even stayed in business is because it was a front for drug dealing.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And so the certain clientele was going there not to get coffee. And some of the things I saw there were just incredibly amusing. And the one that kind of sticks out to me at this moment was this guy that was like sitting in this big chair in the corner of the room. And he's just kind of like huddled in a ball talking to himself. He's like, yeah, he's mumbling and he's kind of getting worked up. He's mumbling more. And he's just like, yeah. And James Hetfield, man. And James Hetfield, and Kurt and Lars is the best drummer, man. But Hammett, man. Hammett's the best, man. It starts air guitar.
Jesus.
Darkness, incompetech me. Oh, and he jumps up on the table and he like kicks all the books off and he's like air guitaring and he's like, yeah, living my life in hell. He starts screaming and yeah. And then when someone yells, get the fuck out. And he like jumps off the table, yeah, and runs out the door, screams.
Oh God!
Yeah, get the fuck out is the first thing you try.
And everyone's just kind of sitting there going, "Okay, now this is happening." That was a reaction. Everyone's like, "Okay, now this is happening."
Yeah, now this is happening.
I am reminded of Ghostbusters where Lewis is trying to get into the restaurant and he's just flipping the fuck out on the outside and he like slides down the window wall, screaming his head off and everybody just goes back to what they're eating.
Yeah. And this was Washington State, so there was gambling. You could do gambling. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget how pissed off I was. There was a gambling bowl where it had these little pull tabs. You pull open the tabs and get a prize. This dude pulled, and he got 2 of the $4,000 payouts.
Whoa!
Yeah. Which he's like, fuck yeah, I won. He looks at his buddy. He goes, like, hey, let's go. And he leaves. Right? He slaps down a $5 bill. And goes, here's your tip, champ.
Okay.
I just paid you $2,000 on a bull pull I pulled, and you give me a 5. He comes back in the next day. He's like, hey, me and my buddies want beer, and I want some tickets out of that bull. I look at my, take your big spending ass and get the fuck out. Because he didn't spend any of the money in the bar. Him and his friends took off after they raised hell about getting a big table to themselves. It was like, no, get out, big spender.
Like,
yeah.
See,
still not the worst job I've had.
I can tell.
I still think my favorite job was working construction in Texas.
Oh, that sounds fun.
I started out just hanging siding, and then I ended up working with my boss. I'd ride around in the truck with him, and some nights he'd have me stay there if we like dropped If he like dropped the copper wiring to go in the houses, he'd have me and like he'd be like, "Hey, why don't you hire a couple of your friends and sit out there and watch that wiring with rifles?" It's like, all right, that's fun because he was like, "Hey, this guy owes me money." I was like, "He owes you money?" And he was like, "Remember we built this guy? I remember this guy." He goes, "Yeah, go in there and tell him he needs to pay me by Wednesday." I was like, "So we doing this easy or hard?" He goes, "Well, don't knock on the door." So I kicked in the front door and went in and said, "You owe my boss money." Yeah, that was a great job. I love that job.
But I've met a couple of guys in construction, and they're all just no nonsense. Actually, great people to know, or at least great people to have on your side in a fight.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it. Yep, and I got pneumonia, and that sucked.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Let's see. I picked blueberries when I was a kid. I picked tomatoes. I picked strawberries. I picked peaches. I picked apples. Those are shitty jobs, but you're a kid. I worked at a slaughterhouse. That was okay. That was $10 an hour in 1980s money. I'm trying to think of the worst one I had. Walmart.
Walmart
was the worst job I had.
I don't doubt it, but do share.
Well, they hired me to work day shift at the electronics counter and to do, troubleshooting on the computers and everything.
I'm sorry.
Because they had their own little IT desk. They put me on night shift maintenance.
Yep.
And oh my God, the women that work at Walmart are the laziest bitches. Oh my God. We had this girl, she would come in and she would clock in and like 30 minutes later she'd disappear. She's in the bathroom playing games on her phone her entire shift, except for when she comes out for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't fire her.
Why?
I have Asperger's.
Oh God.
Really?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, we had this black dude. He was great. He'd come in. He'd only come in on days the trucks come in, and he'd go back there and he'd do like a line or two, and then like offload most of the truck by himself and leave.
Wow.
It's like, hey, if that's how you want to earn your money, buddy.
Yeah.
They paid him for 40-hour weeks because he'd offload like 2 or 3 semis by himself in like an hour.
Oh Jesus.
He'd be like, I'm out of here. Later. Fucking Walmart was and the customer base wasn't the greatest either. I was working there for like a week and I get called in. Well, I get called over to the women's area and I'm like, okay, somebody wants to spill something or something. And the girl goes, it happened again. I said, I started working here. What just happened? And she goes, go look at dressing booth 4. And I open it up and I looked at her, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? She goes, I need you to clean that up. I'm like, I don't work in a porno theater.
Oh, Jesus.
Women's underwear stretched out with cum all over them and all over the mirror. And bras just scattered around. I'm like, I'll go get a pressure washer, but no. She's like, you're maintenance. I'm like, I'm maintenance, not biohazard.
Yeah.
You call the city.
Yeah. And I found out that happened like once a week. Some guy was going in there, putting on the women's clothing and jerking off.
Oh God.
Well, it's just his sexual preference. We can't oppress him,
Yeah.
And what's worse is I found out that they would wash the underwear out on the sink and put it back on the rack.
Okay,
so think about that before you buy your underwear from Walmart.
Oh, Jesus. That is disgusting.
Ew.
Makes you want to run right and buy some panties, don't it, Cat?
Actually, I don't buy underwear that requires a hanger. A 12-pack of Fruit of the Loom, I'm good.
What, baby?
Yeah.
She was talking about
Ishi can tell you I don't own sexy underwear because it's there to do a job,
Sexy bras, yes. Underwear, no.
Yeah, what's sexy is what's under the underwear.
What's sexy is when you let me sleep in an extra hour.
Yeah.
You're old when sexy time is I'm gonna go take a nap. I'll be back.
Jeez.
I think it was Jeff Foxworthy said when you're in your 20s, you have sex every time the kids aren't around. Once the kids get older, you have sex when you go to bed. When you hit about 20 years into the marriage, you just go to sleep and hope you dream about sex. No, it's not that bad. But no. But yeah, shit, I worked, God, I worked brush clearing. Fuck, all kinds of weird jobs. But that bar job was good money.
Terrible.
It was good money, but it was terrible.
You said the bar job was terrible.
Yeah, it was. It was good money, but it was terrible.
That's where you weigh your sanity versus your paycheck.
Well, my wife made me promise when we got married that I'd always put her and the kids first, no matter what. And my boss had me working 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week for like a month. And I come home,
Jesus,
and I fell asleep on the couch, and I woke up to my wife and daughter poking me. And my wife was like, told the girls, you need to go to your room. We got to talk. I'm like, okay. She goes, do you know how I got woken up this morning? I'm like, what time is it? She's like, 7 o'clock in the morning. Do you know how I got woken up? I was like, no, I've only been asleep for like 4 hours. What? She goes, our daughter came in and said, Mama, there's a strange man sleeping on the couch.
Oh.
I was like, oh. She goes,
wake up
I've
call.
never pulled this on you before, but I want to reiterate, I would rather sleep under a bridge in a cardboard box and have you here than the kids not know who their dad is. And I was like, okay, I'm quitting. I went in. I was like, hey, you need to put me on day shift. He's like, no, because, the customers like the women in the day. I was like, then I quit. And he's like, I'll give you a raise. I'm like, no. He's like, what do you want? I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I got to be home with my family. But yeah, my wife said, please quit for me and the kids. And I went, I quit.
You're a good man and a good dad. I mean, really.
I mean, times were tough, but hey, we made it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's called priorities.
Yeah.
Putting what matters first.
Well, how many middle-class kids did you know that were all fucked up because their dad, they never saw their dad, and their mom was always involved with all this political bullshit, and they had everything they could want, but they were just all fucked up.
Gosh, I can't imagine anything like that. Not in the least.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
I've never lived anything remotely like that.
No. Although it wasn't politics.
Mom, I'm having a real problem at school. Here's a new Xbox. Well, that doesn't solve my problem.
I wish Mom did that.
Okay, that would have been better. Yeah, that would have been much better.
No. Her boyfriend, who was nearly half her age, wanted a Game Gear, but what he did is he said, this is for your kid, but really it was for him. That was the only game system I got until I purchased my own PS2 the day I graduated high school.
I bought a Super Nintendo so that we could play a Street Fighter 2 Turbo in the break room when I was in the Army.
Nice.
That's cool.
No, we didn't get into Xbox or anything like that. I got the shut the fuck up. How dare you? Do you not want me to have a career outside the house? What are you demanding? You saying I should be a stay-at-home mother?
I got yelled at because I turned on the rented Nintendo on my own and beat his score.
You got in trouble?
Yeah. Well, it was an electronic. I shouldn't be touching it. It's like, I beat your score. I beat your score on Duck Hunt.
And he was butthurt.
Yeah. And so he got my mom to yell at me.
Oh, what a winner. God, no wonder.
Yeah.
It makes me glad that all I got was ass kickings.
This prick was threatened by me, so it's like, dude, there's like a 20-year age gap between us. How much older is he than me?
Let me do math here. He was 22 and I was 8. So no, I was 7. So
15 years.
So he was okay. So 15. So we're gonna go with 5, 6 years older than you.
He's only 5-6 years older than me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he looked older than me. He looked a lot older than me,
old.
actually.
You're 10 years older than her, cradle robber.
Nah, 8, but close enough. Yeah.
No,
But
he was in the Navy. So.
But no, it was like, dude, Why are you threatened by me?
No,
I
no.
just like
This he looked older than you. He looked that much older than you because he had his own Guinness keg in the living room.
Holy shit, dude! Ease off the booze. It'll be
And
there
he's a
tomorrow. I
cop.
promise.
he was a cop. Yeah,
Of course. Ugh.
I just remember he really. I don't know, something about me. He just did not like me.
No, he didn't. He didn't like you because honestly,
Yeah, what?
you were better at gaming than him.
Seriously?
Circling back to tabletop
You're
RPGs.
shitting me. It was because I ran better games?
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's pretty. That's all kinds of retarded.
That's how he was dissing you. Was he was dissing your game.
Is that really what it was?
Yeah.
What a fucking loser.
Yeah.
Neostar Guile was my main. But, holy shit!
I'm
now
kind of
you're-
taken aback by that. See, usually in my life, there were only two types of people that really had it out for me and bullied me that were male.
Mhm.
And that was either somebody who was really big and knew that they could push me around because of the size difference,
Mhm.
or the one guy that was shorter than me would always want to try and pick a fight with me.
No, you didn't think that he was like amazingly talented and creative and like the best GM ever.
So it's because I didn't kiss his ass. I was
Yes.
just kind of nonplussed and didn't care.
Yes.
You know what? I was so fucking oblivious I didn't even notice.
Yes.
I didn't really even notice that was the issue. I had no idea what it was, but it was obvious he had an issue with me.
Yeah, it was that you were not you didn't think that his game mastering was like the most awesomest.
See, I stopped growing at 5'6", but let me tell you, that 5'6" took a while. Through high school, through elementary, I was always like the shortest kid, which was like a magnet for getting your ass beat by big ape guys who just had something to prove.
Yeah.
But it was always either that or the other guy that was shorter than you.
Who was trying to prove that they were, somewhat of a badass.
Right. So I always ended up kicking the other ever living crap out of the guy that was only shorter than me because they'd pick fights with me. So yeah, I'm a little baffled by this guy. Yeah, this guy's a cop.
Yeah.
He was always playing the tough guy, and I'm like, why do you even fucking care? I'm a writer. I'm not even trying to compete with you, dude. What's the issue? I write books. I do comics. What's the issue? And I really did not know what his problem was with me.
It was that.
And he was always arguing with me. It didn't matter what I said. He was going to say something contrary to it. Mm-hmm. And of course, what was my reaction? Okay. I wouldn't argue with him. I'd be like, okay, I don't care.
Well, unless something happened, he took us each on a ride along, and unless something happened during the ride alongs that I'm not aware of, that was when I noticed his attitude.
No, he always did it in front of you.
Okay. So that's
I don't know.
I don't get it. Anyway. Anyway, that was my childhood.
God, it makes me happy that I was ass kickings.
Yeah, I see. Well, did you get a lot of mind games and a lot of bullshit like that, or was it just ass kickings?
My mom got into a lot of mind games, but she combined her mind games with an ass kicking. Like this is the one I always hate. This is the absolute one I hate. Is when she was wrong and she knew it, and she looks at you and go, "Are you calling me a liar?" Because no matter what you say, you're about to get your ass kicked. And my mom wore rings. She wore a lot of rings.
Mm.
Oh. Yeah.
But yeah, that was "Are you calling me a liar?" was a good one. Oh, or the other good one. You go to dry the dishes, right? And you get a towel. Now she tells you, you say there's no towel next to the dishwasher, next to the dishes. And she goes, "Get a towel." You freeze up because you're about to be fucked. See, if you get a clean one, you're wasting one of her clean towels. If you get a dirty one, you're washing, you're drying the
Yeah,
dishes with a
that
towel. Somebody,
game. Man.
yeah, that one. Remember that one? That was a good one.
It was kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe I was just stupid, but like just like with the bullies in high school or in elementary, was more like it. With Marcia, it was always I just tell the truth and take the beating.
Yeah.
Or like the bully, even if I knew I was going to lose, I'd swing back and fight anyway, even though knew I was going to take the beating. I never actually just said I never actually backed down. I'd take the fight knowing I was going to lose and say fuck it.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know if that means I'm stupid or not, but
No, no. I just see. I knew the ass kicking was coming. No matter what I said, no matter what I did, the ass kicking was coming. So, you know, you just roll with it. And then she threw me out when I was 15 because I had a job, and she said, "Give me some of your paycheck." And I
that
finally had
one.
enough, and I went, "No, get fucked." And she said, "Get out." And I get a call from my brother, and she's like, he goes, "Don't bother to come back and get your stuff." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Yeah, she took all the stuff. She had us take all the stuff out of your room, and then she piled it in the front yard and poured gasoline on it, lit it on fire."
Holy crap.
Well, that's extreme.
And I told my boss, and he's like, "Listen, kid, tell you what, for $100 a month out of your paycheck, I got a trailer I'll rent you. It's leaking, but you know what? It's yours, and you got a truck, so I'll give you $20 to gas up your truck out of your check, and we'll go out there to that place." And I'm telling you, after he left, right? He turned on the power. He hit the main fuse. He hit the main breaker box, and he pulled down the lever. The power came on. He goes, "Look, tough luck, kid. Be at work tomorrow at 8 a.m." And I sat there, and the lights, and, only a couple of the lights worked, and I could hear the water heater gurgling. And the only thing I own is the clothes on my back. And I remember I started laughing because I did it. I got away. I escaped.
No, I understand that.
You know?
It makes me sound like a crazy person, but I escaped.
No, I totally get it.
Yeah. It's like you're free. You don't.
And then my girlfriend moved in.
There you go.
Even better.
Even better. And she was standing there, and she clicked her tongue a couple times that girls in the 80s did. And she goes, "You know what? I'll get the steam cleaner from my aunt while you're at work. And give me $20 and I'll go to Goodwill." And I came back, and I had clothes in a dresser that she had from Goodwill and stuff because she hit up places. The floor was clean and dinner was being cooked.
Damn, you got a good woman.
And she was like, "I like this."
Nice.
Damn, you at 15.
Yeah. Yeah, I was on my own at 15.
See, this is why you don't take any shit.
Yeah.
You learned that you could survive at age 15.
Mm-hmm.
Because working at a slaughterhouse. I mean, my boss would give me a bonus. Okay, where all the stuff comes out, the effluvia comes out,
Yeah.
and it goes in a pit. And it's this deep pit, and my boss would pay me $200 cash to jump in there and shovel it out with buckets until it was empty, and then let me go home early and pay me for the whole day on top of it.
Wow.
And that had to be done once a week. Yeah.
I mean, it's a shit job for that part anyway. But the fact that
I don't know.
Your boss definitely seemed to value your time and what you were doing for him.
I'd say at that age, knowing that I could go home once I was done,
yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd come home and I'd honk the truck horn. I'd come out and my girlfriend would spray me down with the hose, and I'd strip naked because there was nobody that lived nearby because I lived out in the middle of a field. And she'd spray me down. I'd go in and take a shower, and she'd have dinner ready. It'd be like, "Yep," because I remember the stove only had one burner that worked. I brought home my pay for cleaning out the pit, and I set it on the table, and she just tapped the table, and there was an ad from Sears for a brand new stove for $250. And she was like, "I would like to pick this up tomorrow." I was like, "Oh, okay." So she called my boss's wife, and my boss took her and his wife to get the stove from Sears and put it in. Wow. So I came home, more than one burner working. I was the king of the world, man.
Yeah, I didn't escape until I was about 20. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think actually in the long run, you probably fared better that you escaped earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's well, no matter what happens, my wife's always like, you know what, between the two of us, we got the skills and the knowledge to get us through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, one thing that a lot of young people probably aren't getting today is the ability to get out and realize, okay, you can do this. You can do this on your own. It may not be easy. You may have to get by on just a very small amount of money, but you don't have to depend on these people.
Mm-hmm.
Or if
Oh
worse
yeah,
comes to worse, you can take care of yourself.
Yeah.
and when school started, my boss took hunting season started. My boss took me out hunting. Took all of us hunting. We all went hunting.
Sounds like you had a pretty cool boss.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was the '80s. He ran a slaughterhouse, and some of those guys were like the third generation to work at that slaughterhouse. So he knew I was joining the army because he'd be like, "Here, read this book," and he took me in to do my ASVAB and everything.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think if people had that kind of opportunity nowadays, you don't have that kind of opportunity nowadays.
No.
You really don't. And I think that might be what messed everything up. Is there's no okay. I live in a shitty situation where I'm getting my ass beat 2 or 3 times a week at home. Nothing like your mother waking you up with a good hard punch to the face.
Yeah.
And they can't just leave and get a shitty job like I had and live in a rundown trailer. I had to climb up there with a bucket of tar that summer and retar the roof. I learned how to retar the roof from one of the guys that worked at the slaughterhouse because he used to do construction, because I got tired of it raining in the house. People don't have those kind of opportunities anymore.
The
No.
equivalent on the coasts, at least during the 80s and 90s, because the living on the coast is a hell of a lot more expensive.
This was the coast. This was on the I-5.
Okay.
It was on the I-5
Washington.
corridor.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you were able, but I don't know. It was the environments. A lot of the environments I was in, the idea of a 15-year-old or even a 16-year-old being able to do that was kind of unheard of. But what you would get is you'd get these tribes of, well, we called them gutter punks at the time, that came from homes like what you're describing. And
Yeah.
a lot of them would have jobs or do what they could to make money. And they would claim a location and they'd try to furnish it.
Yeah.
And yeah, they'd have things like electricity if they could somehow get it. They usually found places where they had some sort of running water. They would buy stuff to furnish it.
Well, when I was 16, somebody called CPS on me. I think it was the school. And I'm like, oh, fuck, because my girlfriend's like, my girlfriend's parents knew she was living with me. My girlfriend's father considered me a good, hardworking man because I had a job in a slaughterhouse, like a real man. And, and he'd come over to visit a couple times, and her mother come over and visit. We have a working refrigerator. We have a new stove. We got working hot water. Everything's clean. CPS shows up. I'm like, fuck, there's 2 county mounties and some woman out in the front yard. And she goes, you sit down, I'll answer the door. She invites him in. And he's like, I'm here from CPS, Child Protective Service. And I looked at her and I said, well, you're about 10 years too late, but thanks anyway. And she's like, I just have to come here. There's been a mandatory report. And she walks in, she opens the refrigerator. The refrigerator is spick and span. And the food's all, good stuff because we bought it, we paid money for it. And she goes through the house and she comes back and she turns on the TV and she goes, does that cable box work? And I said, it costs me $25 a month. You're right, it works. And she checked the channels. She looked in the washer and the dryer. She looked in the truck and she's like, open the cabinets. And she told the sheriff, I have kids being abused in town. Can we go? And the sheriff went, all right. And she looked and said, you two were just fine.
Wow.
She's like, I got to go to the hospital where there's a kid or their parents put cigarette butts out on them. She looked mad. I thought she was mad at us. And no, she was mad because somebody called the cops and she shows up and the place is spick and span and the food's all good and everybody's dressed.
Basically, just wasting everybody.
Well, she was probably expecting a squat with rats in it. And
yeah. And back then though, she didn't even say anything about the fact I had an old M1 carbine up above the TV on a rack. That was no big deal.
No.
80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, 80s.
It's 80s.
I mean, yeah, the world is changing. I kind of feel bad for people. I mean, I kind of feel bad for the kids growing up nowadays because if you're in a bad situation, CPS just makes it worse.
Yeah,
There's no
definitely.
jobs. I was making $10 an hour in 1980s money working in a slaughterhouse. I don't think slaughterhouses nowadays pay $10 an hour.
Depends on what the minimum wage is in your state.
Yeah.
But I will guarantee you, you guys ate some of the beef that I helped with. I can guarantee it.
I probably didn't. I might have been a baby.
But I mean, because that was the shit. And then I joined the army, and everybody's like, "Oh, this sucks," and it's like, not really. Yeah, less chance for young people to bounce back. I mean, I can't think of how many times me and my wife hit the bottom and bounced. And nowadays, if you hit the bottom, you're just done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well,
yeah.
that and there seems to be this not teaching kids how to take care of themselves,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
babying them.
no. The concept of saving is a lost art.
Of saving
what?
money.
Yeah, saving money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that lost knowledge?
Because believe it or not, if you really want something, if you're having problems with your budget, a really interesting thing to do is take a look at the first of the month and watch everything that hits and try to match every single withdrawal off of your card to what you know you're paying for. Or if you really want to do it, if you really want to go really high speed, change bank accounts. Get a new bank account, close the old one, and get a hold of your utilities, your car note, your mortgage or your rent, and your cell phone plan and your internet service, and only put that on the new card. And then wait and see how much stuff that you forgot about. Because that's how they do it. They nickel and dime you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's just $2 a month, $5 a month. Or
Yeah.
it's just this. It's just that.
Yep. I can donate $2.99 to this guy's Patreon. I like his stuff. Which if you do that for me, thank you very much. Believe it, I appreciate every penny. But then it's like, oh, then $5 for Nexus, and then $7.99 for this, and $8.99 for that, and oh, I want to get YouTube Red, and oh, I want to get the better Hulu. And if you add it all up, it's like $300 you had no idea was going out.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, why don't I have any money left at the end of the month? Well, because everybody's nickel and diming you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like D&D.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like they're trying to do. And that's what pisses me off. In the middle, see, I was lucky enough, I got to talk to Gygax a lot on the N-World forums, good old Uncle Gary.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, because we're entering a recession, the biggest thing D&D could do to build their brand is to make it cheap, to make it real cheap. Make it so that, okay, I have the choice of either spending $10 and going to the movies, or I can play D&D. We used to play D&D because we were broke.
You're broke, and that's like literally all day.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
With your friends.
Oh, that's all weekend.
Yeah, with your friends, with either your favorite alcoholic substance or soda and chips and just bullshitting.
Yeah. I mean, shit, that's a whole, if you're, when you're younger and you don't really have that much of a life, and especially if your significant other plays too.
Yeah. That's
the whole weekend of, eating chips and sitting around with your feet up on the table and playing all weekend. I can remember starting Friday afternoon after work and playing until like 9 o'clock Sunday night.
I can remember doing that, and no sleep in the middle.
No. And nowadays, we want $30 a month for you to be able to just look at the books. Well, I'm not giving you $30 a month. And you're not going to be able to look at the rules. They're not going to do an SRD, so you can't look at the rules. Yeah, 2000 Wizards of the Coast basically gave D&D away. We got a renaissance. Everybody bought it. Everybody got into it. Shit, I made okay money. The people who were selling my stuff made bank. But yeah, and now they're going to close it all off. It's like you were right though. It's the accountants and it's the lawyers. They get involved, and because they're lizard people.
Yeah,
Actually,
they're soulless bastards.
Yeah, they're not even lizard people, because lizard people at least know what they're doing. You know, they've conquered plenty of planets.
Yeah.
Even lizard people have to be, why are you fucking this up?
It's just completely greed driven. There's no concept of what the product is, why people buy it, why people enjoy it. It's just, how can I wrench every penny out of this person I possibly can? That's all they care about, whether the company even needs it or not. I mean, I've seen companies that we're doing well. We're in a very good place, but the desire to wrench more money out of the customers crashed them.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like, why would you do that?
Because people are, God. You know, you've had more ties with business than I have.
Yeah.
I had the unpleasant experience of meeting some of those Harvard and Masters of Business Association people and a lawyer, and it was like being in the room with a bunch of reptiles.
Well, lizard people, as you said.
Well, and they can't even be cool lizard people, you know. and short-sighted greed, quarterly balance sheets. I think the huge fuck up, is when that Supreme Court case came down because of Gerald Ford, and they determined that the company's responsibility was not to produce a good product, was not to expand and treat their workers right, but a company's sole goal is the profit of the shareholders, was a Supreme Court decision because of Henry Ford. How's that to find out?
Wow. Daniel says, Watsy hired a lady who is in charge of monetizing Xbox. She's set about securing a monopoly on distribution channels. She doesn't understand the difference between a community and a product.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't see human beings.
No. You are in between them and your wallet.
Right.
And they hate you for it.
Right.
Yes, they do.
I mean, if they could find a way just to steal your money and walk away with giving you nothing, they would.
Yeah.
Which says everything you need to know about these people. Anyone who their ultimate desire is just to take your money and have you have nothing, give nothing in return, they're scum.
Yeah.
They've produced nothing. They've offered nothing. They're a bunch of crooks. That's it.
Yes.
You got to look at people, and you look at the people who really, really, like, we remember, great inventors, people who've produced things that change the world. Most of these money people, have they ever produced anything other than clusterfucks and stealing money from people?
No.
Have they ever actually left a piece of culture or civilization that really is going to stay with us for the millennia? Have they ever actually invented something that changed people's lives, something material and physical? Or no, it's just shuffling numbers to screw people.
Well, they ruined the internet.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They absolutely ruined the internet. I mean, and they've ruined literature, and they've ruined movies. You got to remember, nowadays a movie isn't a success unless it made $1 billion, a literal $1 billion.
Yeah. Like, that's insane. And actually, you were saying how they've ruined, basically media in general. I've discovered that Amazon. Well, I didn't realize it was coming back, but I discovered Amazon is streaming for free the original Night Court show. I loved Night Court as a kid, so I've been watching it as just kind of winding down at the end of the day because it makes me laugh, and realizing that the writing on that show is tighter. It covers topic. It actually researched the fucking law, unlike She-Hulk. It covers real topics such as kids who are abandoned to foster homes and wind up on the street again. Real prostitution, other things like that. It covers real topics seriously without whitewashing, and none of this fucking pronouns bullshit. And it's just, why can't we have shows like this again that are just fun?
We can. We have to make them ourselves.
That's true.
Yeah, and they don't want you to make it. See, they don't want you to make it yourself. I mean, they're not interested. God. And the other problem they have is they believe Twitter is real life.
Yeah,
they do.
That's going to be their doom right there.
Yeah.
They think Twitter is reality.
Yeah.
Our politicians think Twitter is reality. Another one that I wanted to just kind of throw as an aside, that even as a kid when I was growing up, it kind of bugged me when I started seeing this go away, was the concept of a repair shop.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen all the court cases?
No.
There is court cases about the right to repair. John Deere tractors.
Jesus.
Okay, I live in the Midwest, right? John Deere didn't allow anybody to work on the tractors. And, tractors nowadays are not the tractors of your grandfather's generation. These things pull combines and the like that are 100 paces wide, and they're out there in them all day. And so these things cost as much as a house. You couldn't so much as replace the belt on one. It went all the way to the Supreme Court because John Deere didn't want to allow people to repair their own tractors. And then, Supreme Court said, yes, they're allowed to repair their own tractors, except for intellectual property and trade secrets. So now the entire tractor is a trade secret.
Oh, God.
Apple went to court over the right to repair and lost. IBM went to court over the right to repair and lost. And I'm going to be honest, I have a associate's in electronic engineering. Don't tell anybody. I know I play up the high school dropout thing. I've actually got 2 degrees. I have a degree in electronic engineering. If your TV blows out, let's say your $600 TV blows out, and I come to take a look at it, and I check what blew out, it will be cheaper because Radio Shack folded, and you really can't get parts that cheap, and you're going to be paying me $25 an hour. It's cheaper for you to go buy a new TV.
Exactly.
I did know that. That's why I know there's this big community of people who will go to garage sales, or who will find, people who have left old, broken TVs on the side of the road, and will grab them up to get the parts and for cannibalizing.
Yeah, I just remember when I was younger, my grandparents on both sides repaired everything. If their pants ripped, they sewed it back together.
My dad did until he physically couldn't anymore.
I mean, there's like, you didn't have to throw this shit away and go buy a new one.
But now, if you try to sew up a T-shirt that you've had for a while, the cloth rips.
Yeah.
And Levi's aren't made in America anymore, guys, and they're made very cheaply.
No,
and the right to repair is gone. Well, the right to repair is being fought with because they're like, no, if it breaks, or we do our planned obsolescence, or we load it up with malware to slow it down, like the phones, the John Deere tractors. You just have to buy a new one.
I have one for you. I have sitting in my garage at this very moment my grandfather's drill press. He bought it off of TWA from when he was working for them in the 60s. So it had been in their shop a lot longer than that, because they sold it to him in the 60s when they replaced it. It still works. You can't say that about anything tools that are manufactured now.
No, that's like oh God, I can't remember. It's not Snap-on.
Same with my table saw. My table saw.
I think
it still works.
I think we're going to run into a situation in which people with machine shops at home and the ability to forge things through 3D printing are going to become a legitimate threat.
It's already happening.
Oh, it's already happening?
It's already happening.
They're producing stuff that's better.
Because people who actually understand engineering, or just plain understand how things work, are building stuff in free programs like Blender and then are printing them off. And then they put their plans out there for free.
Right. Public domain, open source.
Mm-hmm. Or for something cheap like a block, you know.
Yeah. Okay, well, I gotta...
The other huge problem is that so many people don't understand how anything works.
No, they don't.
I mean, the light switch might as well be magic.
Yeah.
You know, the light switch, the plumbing might as well be magic.
Yeah, you turn the magic wand on the faucet and water comes out.
Yeah, they don't get it. And part of it is they don't teach that stuff in class anymore in school. They used to teach it in school. You know.
No, I know. I actually I purposely took shop because I wanted to build things. Like I said, my grandfather was a mechanic. My dad was an engineer. They both taught me. I know enough that I will do my own plumbing. I will not do my own electric work.
I have an electronic engineering degree, and I will not do my own electrical work.
Yeah. It's like, yes, I know enough to know my limitations. But that's the thing. I'm the person with the honeydew list in the house. I go and I fix things in my house, and I am damn proud of that. And, you know, something has to be good and proper fucked for me to call a repairman. Yeah, you didn't hear Ishi, but he brought up that I made him a table. I built him a table.
Nice.
Because he needed one for his chair to where he sits and reads. You know, so... Yeah, nobody knows how to do stuff like that anymore.
No, nobody knows how to. I saw somebody. My neighbor when I was living on the coast. My neighbor was going to throw out a table. This was a nice table. He's like, "Oh, I just bought this from one of the furniture stores, and it just wobbles all the time." I'm like, "So you're going to throw it out?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Hang on a second." I said, "Do me a favor, lift up the table a little bit." Yeah, guess what was on the bottom of the table leg?
There's a variety of things that, you know.
There's a little thing that you can turn.
Oh,
and
true.
It extends out slightly, and you can level the table. I was like, "There you go, champ, leveled."
There you go.
He was like, "Why hasn't anybody ever told me about this thing?" I'm like, "How did you not know it's there?"
Because IKEA doesn't have a little picture that tells you that that's what it does.
You know, another one is that a lot of the furniture in our house is actually pretty expensive, except it isn't, because we bought it used and then Kat restored it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So we've got like really nice furniture that she restored, and we paid what, like 10, 20?
Yeah.
Nothing more than $50.
You'd mentioned Goodwill. That's what I'll do is I'll go to Goodwill and find good pieces of furniture, or we like to go to antique stores and I find bargains. So
Goodwill has decided they're an antique store in most places.
Really?
You'll go in and see this shitty desk that they want $140 for, and you know it's made of cardboard underneath.
Wow, not here.
No, not here. It is so much fun to go to the Goodwills in Mesa, Arizona. There's like 7 of them, and they all seem to specialize in different things, and it's treasure hunting. It's wonderful.
I'll tell you something that blew me away. I bought a new coffee table for the house, and I paid $500 for it because it said the thing. And I was like, "Is this actual solid wood?" And I was like, "Yeah, totally." Right. So my granddaughter is at the age where she's prying on things with whatever she can find, butter knife, her teeth, you know. And she managed to get the knife into what I thought was just the corner, but actually had a little gap.
Oh no!
And she ripped up the top of the table. Guess what the middle actually was?
Particle board, MDF.
No, corrugated cardboard.
Oh my God! Really?
I took that shit back. He's like, "Well, cardboard's wood." I'm like, "You have about 30 seconds before I throw you through your showroom window."
No, that is no.
I was like, "I paid $600 for cardboard and veneer."
No.
It's real wood. No, it's not. That's cardboard.
Lawsuit territory. I was thinking it would be MDF.
Which is the MDF? Is that just the shitty particle board?
Yeah, that's the shitty particle board.
Yeah.
You know, Draco, I would agree with that, except that there are so many maker communities now, and there are also clubs called Forgotten Knowledge or Lost Knowledge type clubs. They literally gather just to teach each other things like, oh well, here's how you smith things. Here's how you do glass blowing. Here's how you start fires. Here's how you make a forge. Here's
I
how you
had no
farm.
idea that people didn't know how to make a fire without a lighter. I thought everybody knew that with a knife, some branches, and your shoelace, you can get a fire started in less than 20 minutes.
Okay, I know how to do that. I never got it to work in Boy Scouts, though.
It
I know you
requires a
can.
little bit of a knack.
I know you can, and I was told right off the bat you're gonna be at it for a while, until you figure out how to do it. But
Or
I've
you
never
get the
done
stick
it.
and you make a little bow around it, and
Yeah.
It's easier to just use your hands. It's just
do
a little more
the
effort,
hand.
and it keeps you warm.
And it does keep
Yeah.
you warm.
It amazes me how much has been lost, though. I mean,
It is. It is amazing.
it just, and the prices are going up on everything, and and it pisses me off. They expect us to pay
Well,
good money for trash.
I think what's going to happen is we're going to see what happened during the wars and the Depression is people are going to get real clever about making things work again.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
and those who can't are going to be broke.
That's like my son-in-law was like, "Hey, all that computer stuff in the basement, are you ever going to use it?" And I'm like, "No, I keep it down there just in case I might need it someday." He's like, "Okay." And he comes up to me and goes, "Hey, I built an entire computer out of your parts down there."
Awesome.
Nice. Great.
Mm.
And just because, it's just whenever I swap out parts, I put them in the box. And over the years, I've had that box for like 10, 15 years. Actually, he found a drive that the manufacturing date on it is 2002.
Wow.
But still, but how many people know how to put together their own computers?
I know how. I've been around tech heads for most of my life. My stepdad was, again, my dad. So we had a really, really good friend who lived near us who built your last.
Well, Phil and I did it once, and
well,
I didn't really like working with Phil, but
Rory.
Yeah, I know Rory built me one.
Yeah. So I've never had to actually do it, to be perfectly honest, but I know how, and I'm not afraid to.
And there's something interesting going to happen because the Colorado River no longer goes to its terminus. It's actually just salt bogs down there now.
Yeah.
And apparently, somebody put in another huge line to pull water off of the river again. And now in Arizona, you've got towns that don't have water.
That's true. That it's actually 20 miles away from us.
Yeah, because
it's Scottsdale. It's northern Scottsdale.
Scottsdale now has, because of California.
Because somebody's been pulling water when they shouldn't have.
You mean California?
Yeah. And Nestle. Don't forget Nestle.
Nestle. Yeah, Nestle. But yeah, there's a huge chunk of northern Scottsdale that doesn't have water, and I mean there were near riots there for, well, still to the as far as I know, they're still threatening. So
and I'm sorry, but part of me says you live in a desert. Get your shit. We'll get the U-Haul. We'll move where the water is.
Actually, I looked into where we are in Mesa, and yes, Mesa, of course, gets some water from Colorado, but there's also other rivers. There's local wells. They're like, yes, we're probably going to have to start asking people to ration soon, but we're fine for another couple of years. So it's like, okay.
Well, we've got a shed full of those bottles, but
But
it wouldn't hurt to get more of them.
Yeah.
Well, the other weird thing is what's happening to a lot of reservoirs. Okay, and here's where I'm going to sound like I'm a conspiracy theorist weirdo.
Well, that's fine. You're in good company.
A lot of reservoirs in the Midwest are coming up with Chinese blue-green algae, which makes the water toxic in the summers.
Yeah.
My township put in a brand new wall. I mean, we agreed to a bump in our taxes to build a new water filtration plant, and because it looked like they might have the algae beat. And last year there was a bloom bigger than anything anybody had seen, and it wrecked the water purification system.
The Chinese love sabotage.
Yeah, that's like, what was it, in the
And
Pacific
dirty
Northwest? In the Pacific Northwest, all those Chinese praying mantises showed up.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that eat birds. And everybody's like, well, how did they get here?
It's not a coincidence.
No.
They've been doing that to everybody. China is one of those nations right now that's got this, I don't know, they have this mentality of, if they can't fuck you, they will. Whether they need to or not, they'll do it.
Why did you attack us? You poisoned our water supply. You blasted our crops. You sickened our herds, and you damaged our infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's called war.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gets me because somebody was talking about the blue-green algae, and I was like, that's the Chinese algae. It's cropping up all over the Midwest. Well, that sounds racist to me. Oh, for fuck's sake!
It's not racist if it's from fucking China.
I didn't say some Chinaman paddled over with his coolie hat and buck teeth on a fucking rowboat and then snuck in here with his ninja abilities and threw algae in the lake. I said it's a Chinese algae. It's probably off the bullshit you get from China all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's racist. Fuck.
Like,
And I swear, anytime you say anything, people's brains just turn the fuck off.
yeah, they
And it's
do.
like,
It depends, though, because I'm noticing more and more people don't give a flying fuck about racist comments. Now, maybe it's where we live, but it seems people have kind of had it with that shit. Have you noticed that?
I'm starting to notice it a lot.
Or people just don't give a shit anymore?
Like I like to say, I hit the point now where I'm like, yeah, that's racist. Thanks for noticing. Because anything I said, hey, I get, I prefer the motherboard from this area instead of the Chinese one. Oh, that sounds racist. It's the difference between the factories. Well, that still sounded kind of racist. Thanks for noticing. Next question.
Who the fuck would say that?
Idiots. It's one of the reasons I left the West Coast.
Idiots, yeah.
I'm talking about a motherboard in class. I was like, okay, the fab in South Korea is better than the one, and the fab in Taiwan are better than the one in China, because the one in China still suffer from capacitor plague. And this girl sitting there goes, that sounds a little racist. The Chinese capacitor plague was not racist. It was capacitors coming out of China at the time were so terrible, everybody knew what was wrong with the motherboards and the electronics as the capacitors kept popping.
That's another thing that I've kind of been laughing at, is all these companies that turn to China saying it's cheaper. It's like, well, actually, no, it isn't.
Look what you got. No. It's like, look what you got.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean, and they're finding also, what was all those companies for, like, how is it the Chinese keep stealing all our ideas?
Oh,
you
I don't
moved all
know.
your
You send it
factories to China.
Yeah, you moved all your factories to China. Oh, and you let God.
No, the Chinese mentality is literally, if you can steal it and not get caught, do it.
And I'll be honest, I don't blame the people for feeling that way and thinking that way. If you read into their history from like 1920 and beyond, you totally get why. Because that's how you lived. That's how you survived.
Yeah.
And I don't begrudge anybody when their entire society is set up that way against them.
Right.
It's like, I don't blame, Joe Chinaman. He wants the same thing I want. He wants a place to live. He doesn't want people shooting at him. He wants his kids to be safe. And he'd like his food not to be made of plastic.
Yeah.
I can get along with him.
Well,
but
another one
again.
The companies. How often do we hear the line, oh, hey, that's racist, and everyone starts laughing at the person who says it?
Yeah.
Still $30. It's still fucking ringing in my head. $30.
It's still one of those things that your brain can't quite wrap around it.
It pisses me off because then they're like, oh, we own whatever you give us so that you can play it in your homebrew. Hey, you know what you can own? You can own this dick right here.
Like, you know what? I don't need you. I have paper. I have dice. And, I've got a webcam that I can point at my table. So fine. I don't need you.
And you know what? If I want to be a real dick and I want to introduce the players to the ultimate in lethality, we'll go back to first edition when, hey, look, your magic user got hit by a kobold for 6 points of damage.
Well, I'm seriously considering, just after we ran our game this weekend, which I had so much fun, that give it some time. I'm really thinking of running a short GURPS cyberpunk game with a couple of you guys. And rather than using the computer interface and all that, just strict dice and paper and voices. That's it.
Oh wow.
No maps, nothing, just voice.
Oh God, I can remember playing D&D with no maps, no figures, no nothing. We're all just kicked back in chairs drinking beer, and I'm just describing, and they would be like, okay, can we get a really good description of the room? if they were worried. And there was always the rule: if you interrupt me when I say, okay, you open the door and you see, and somebody yells, somebody interrupts me, I don't finish the description. You tell me what your dumbass is about to do. Well, if you'd let me finish the description, I told you there was 3 trolls in there.
No, I always like to, it's like, oh, okay, you're going to do that? Fine. We'll get to you right now. And you barge in there and immediately run into these trolls. Just
Yep.
like, there you go.
There we go. Now, it's like I run 2 types of trolls. There's the modern ones, which look nothing like the old school ones, and then there's the old school ones, and they're called the ancient ones, because the ancient ones are the ones you cut their arm off and it grows another troll.
Whoa.
The old scrawny, emaciated, long carrot nose. Yeah, those ones are the ancient ones. And if you see one of those, where the fuck did he come from? That's the first question that was always asked. Where did he come from? What direction is he coming from? Because I think we've got to go that way.
Daniel, don't know anything about Earth Dawn.
Earth Dawn is a prehistory setting of high magic that takes place in what's called at the end of what's called the 5th age, or the 4th age, because our modern world in the Bronze Age was the 5th age. 6th age is Shadowrun. Earth Dawn was the end of the 4th age, when magic was about to stop, and the beyond, I can't remember what they were called, but there was things from beyond space and time attacking people.
Oh,
it was really kind of cool.
Sounds kind of Lovecraftian.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm thinking about running an old school cyberpunk game. Just use the GURP system.
Yeah.
Flat out. Have our character sheets in our hands, and the GM has the character sheets as well.
Yeah, but then I have to turn on my camera, and I'm lazy.
No, actually, you don't.
Actually, the way he plays this game,
you don't need to.
We'd go for like months without rolling a die.
That's not true. You roll die every game.
No, not necessarily.
But
no, well, other people may have. I didn't need to.
Well, that's often because you didn't do stupid shit. I jump off the helicopter and see if I can land on my feet.
I actually had that happen in a Shadowrun game.
Yeah.
We were chasing the bad guy, and he got onto the helicopter, and my Street Sam went running, and I made the jump, and it was a beautiful jump. And basically, the claws that come out of your hand, I slammed him. I made a good roll, slammed him into the front of the helicopter, pointed the gun at the pilot, and said, "Land on the roof." And he gave me the finger, and I was all hyped up, because it's a really good game. So I shoot the pilot of the helicopter.
Oh.
240 stories up. And my GM's like, "You're on the front of the helicopter." "Yes." "You're 240 stories up." "Yes." "You're shooting the pilot." "Yes." Okay. I was like, he can't get away now. But my character survived. And the rest of the group threw all the Delta class cyberware in him. So he wakes up. He's like, "Why do I have 0.1 essence?" That was a fun game. That one lasted for like 2 years.
Did you guys hear about the female police officer who had a train run over her by an entire cop squad? Remember, Kings, it's a new year and a new you. Suss that bitch, smells like fish. Sue that bitch.
I have no idea.
I have heard about that. It's some female cop in an open relationship was banging like 5 dudes.
And a train hit her?
No.
He meant guy. Oh, I thought he meant an actual literal train ran her over.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
It's like, okay, girl got ran over by a train. What?
You know what? I'm not gonna throw rocks. If that's how her and her husband and their friends have their fun, I'm not throwing rocks. But don't expect me not to point and laugh at you when you arrest me.
Yeah.
I thought it was run a train on her, not over her. But
yeah, it's run a train on her.
Okay. Yeah, I was really picturing a locomotive going over a woman.
Well, I was like, what? The other cops threw her onto the tracks like an old school sniper.
No, they kind of threw her onto her back, and then the train ran over her.
Yeah.
Then the train. Okay, that's the reason why it's called a holding cell. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? If they were doing it off duty, I don't care. Matter of fact, I
Yeah.
don't even think it's the police department's business.
Off
If they're
duty?
doing it
Yeah.
off duty, more power to her. If that's what she likes, if she likes 5 dicks at a time, that's fine.
If
It's
that's
not
what
hurting me.
6
They're
consenting
adults.
adults want to do, fine.
Yeah.
If they're consenting cocks and yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as they don't come, knocking on my door asking my opinion, I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know who this woman is.
And Trenton says the husband was unaware, and it's like, well, that's what divorce court's for.
Yep. Oh, the husband was unaware. That's when you just change the locks in the house.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like those are still those are a whole lot of not my problem.
And she's kind of plain looking. And my wife said what it is she was plain looking in junior high and high school, so she never got any attention. And she went into the police academy. Now she's on the police force, and these guys start paying her attention. And because she didn't get any attention previously in her life from guys, she didn't know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm. If she was plain, yeah, that sounds about right.
That's actually kind of funny.
all right, we should probably call it a night.
Yeah.
But hey, it's been good hanging with you, man. It's always good hanging with you.
It's been a lot of fun.
Sad that,
We got to hear your bar adventures.
Yes.
Oh God, that barely touches any of it.
Oh my God.
God,
All
that's
right,
more than
well,
one time
when
I came-
Janelle's here, we'll have to bring it up again then, because
Yeah.
that way she can go into hysterics.
Oh,
All right.
Okay.
good night, everybody.
And just remember, books available in the description.
Both Ishii and Ralt have books, so
Or
check
buy a
them out.
t-shirt.
Buy a t-shirt.
Hey, you wanted me to make a
Support Ralt
t-shirt.
is,
You wanted me to make a t-shirt.
I did, and I don't remember what it was.
Well,
so
damn you.
I'll think of it later.
Okay.
Take care
Good
of
night,
yourselves,
everyone.
guys. Everybody take care of yourselves.
And learn how to do
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Bye.